We're all told the official story, right? The accepted facts, the way things are supposed to be. But what if that's not the whole picture? Beneath that surface, there are these other stories, whispers of secret plots and hidden truths. Today, we're diving into some of the most mysterious conspiracy theories out there. These are the fascinating, sometimes kind of scary tales that make you question everything you think you know. So let's start peeling back the layers. And this right here, this is the one question that kicks the whole thing off. It's the starting point for every single theory we're about to look at. Just that simple, powerful idea that what we've been told is, at best, missing a few pieces, and at worst, a complete and deliberate lie. Okay, so before we dive headfirst down all these different rabbit holes, it really helps to have a map. We gotta get on the same page about what we're even talking about. So what exactly is a conspiracy theory? So let's break this down. It's actually pretty straightforward. A conspiracy theory has two key ingredients. First, there's a secret plot by some powerful group. And second, it's an alternative to what's probably the more likely or simpler explanation. Just keep that idea in your back pocket as we dive into our first examples. Let's start by looking back. Way back. Because some of the most enduring and compelling theories aren't about today's headlines, but about secrets that might have been buried for hundreds or even thousands of years. So picture this. It's 1949. A U.S. Air Force plane is on a totally routine mission over Mount Ararat in Turkey. And then they photograph, well, this. It's this weird, long shape buried under all the ice and snow right near the top of a mountain that's pretty famous in biblical stories. This is what's known as the Ararat anomaly. And here's where a weird photo becomes a full-blown conspiracy. Theorists say this is not just a weirdly shaped rock. Oh no. They claim it's the actual Noah's Ark. And the conspiracy part? The idea is that governments know it's there. They've supposedly taken better pictures with their super-secret spy satellites, but they're hiding them from us. Maybe to keep their surveillance tech under wraps? All right, let's jump forward a few centuries to medieval Europe and talk about a group called the Cathars. They were around from about the 11th to the 14th century, and they were a branch of Christianity, but with some very different ideas. Ideas that, well, ended up getting them completely wiped out. So the official history says the Cathars were heretics, and that's why they were crushed. But the conspiracy theory points to a much, much deeper motive. It claims the Cathars had secret gospels, forbidden texts, that held some world-shattering ideas. Like, what if the God of the Old Testament was actually a malevolent being, maybe even Satan? And what if reincarnation was real? Suddenly, the crusade wasn't just about heresy, it was about destroying information, a truth so dangerous it could have unraveled the very foundations of the church. All right, let's jump forward to our own time, where the conspiracies are less about ancient texts and more about government agencies and events that many of us still remember. July 7th, 2005, a day of absolute terror in London. A series of coordinated attacks on the city's transport system right in the middle of morning rush hour. This image from Tavistock Square, it shows just a fraction of the horror. The official story came out very quickly. So what you're seeing here are two stories that just cannot both be true. On one side, you have the official account for extremist suicide bombers. But on the other side, the theory claims those four men were just patsies, people set up to take the fall for a plot that was actually planned and carried out by the UK's own security services. The motive? A cover-up for a secret so big, most versions of the theory don't even agree on what it was. Okay, from a single horrific event to a single object that supposedly contains the truth about, well, all of them. Imagine for a second a book. A secret book passed down from one U.S. president to the very next, holding all the nation's deepest, darkest secrets. This is the legend of the President's Book of Secrets. And just get a load of what's supposedly in this book. The real story behind the Roswell UFO crash, the names of JFK's real assassins. That's already huge, but it gets so much wilder. The identity of the Antichrist, and that the 9/11 attacks were foretold. According to the theory, this book is the ultimate collection of truths that are just too dangerous for the public to know. Okay, so far we've been talking about hidden history and government plots here on Earth. But now we're going to venture into theories that don't just question events, they question reality itself, and maybe even the laws of the universe. Meet Nibiru, or as some people call it, Planet X. The idea is that there's a massive, planet-sized object hiding out there on our solar system, and it's on a direct collision course with Earth, a literal doomsday waiting to happen.
And here's where it gets really tricky, because this is a theory you can't really disprove. You see, NASA says an old photo from 1983 just shows some distant galaxies. Theorists say, nope, that's our first photo of Nibiru. NASA says the South Pole telescope can't take pictures. Theorists say that's because it was secretly built to track Nibiru. To a believer, every single denial from an official source isn't proof the theory is wrong. It's actually proof that the cover-up is real. It's the government trying to stop us all from panicking.
For our last theory, if you thought the president's book was intense, just wait till you hear about this one. It's called the Grand Grimoire. Some call it the Red Dragon or the Gospel of Satan, and according to the legends, this is no ordinary book. They say it's literally supernatural, completely indestructible. I mean, come on. A book supposedly written by Lucifer himself, filled with rituals to summon demons. A book that the Catholic Church is said to own, but has never let anyone see. So the question is kind of obvious. But of course, where else would it be? Tucked away in one of the most secure, most mysterious libraries on the entire planet. The theory goes that the original, indestructible manuscript is locked deep, deep inside the Vatican. Whew, okay, so we've gone through ancient secrets, government cover-ups, and paranormal plots. But all of this, it all leads to the biggest question of all. Why? What is it about these stories that's so powerful? You know, when you look closely at all these theories, you start to see the same things pop up again and again. There's this deep, fundamental distrust of authority, this core belief that they are lying to us. There's also this very human need to find a simple, clear reason for things that are chaotic and tragic. It's almost more comforting to believe a terrible event was a secret plot than just a random, senseless act. And maybe most of all, it's the power of a really, really good story. And ultimately, that's the question these theories force us to ask ourselves. They challenge the very idea that there is one single official truth. So whether you think they're just wild stories or necessary challenges to the powers that be, they really shine a light on our deep-seated need to make sense of the world. And they leave you wondering, who do you trust to tell you what's real?